Hey everybody, we have a really special video today. I have a line on my favorite car of all time that's been sitting long enough that the owner doesn't even know how long it's been sitting. And it's in need of a rescue badly. It's my favorite car. It is a 1964 Buick Riviera. For those of you that know what that car is, it's a 3-year style from 63 to 65. Inaugural year was 63. Amazing vehicle in every way. And here is one that I just came across by luck, and it needs a rescue. It's in northern Tennessee. We have no idea what we're going to find there. We don't know if it's under a carport, if it's in a field, if it's sunk in mud, nothing. Haven't seen a picture. So it's going to be an adventure in all kinds of ways. So come along, this is going to be a really good one. Boy, we are way out in the middle of nowhere here. Lots of fields and farms and narrow roads. I think I'm here. I got, like so many of these school rescues, it's the end of a very long driveway. I mean, this is really, really long. Like I said earlier, I have no idea what to expect. Oh, we got an old Chevy pickup there. I bet we're here. Yep, there it is. This is going to be awesome. This thing is so awesome. It is hard to describe. I mean, it doesn't look so great, but it is solid, solid, solid. The tires are sunk so low that the rockers are actually on the ground. So this is going to be a challenge to get up in the air. I mean, it's probably deeper than almost any vehicle I've rescued before. But look at that nose. There's just nothing like it. Missing one of the parking lights, but you can get those. Original hubcaps still on it. I mean, this thing is just awesome. Looks like you got 3 flats and looks like the 4th tire has air, which is good. I've got air tanks with me. Seats are shot. Oh, too bad. This window appears to be broken. Yeah, this little girl has been out here a very long time. Look at that. A package shelf. Wowee, this is awesome. This is just awesome. Dual exhaust, of course. '64 was the first year of the 3-speed automatic. It's got a variable pitch transmission in it that is called a switch pitch, and it actually gives you better launching ability off the line. It's a very cool option. Buick had it in the early 60s. The year before, 63 had a Dynaflow. Completely different transmission, completely different. And interestingly, on 64, the shift selector still only had 2 positions, drive and low. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it was a 3-speed. Console goes all the way back to the back seat, and this thing is just awesome. This is going to be fun today. It's a beautiful day too, absolutely beautiful. So the plate on the back has a 1999 sticker on it. Wow. So this thing might be parked 23 years ago or close to it. Wow. Well, this is going to be great. It's a Buick 425. I'm super familiar with these Buick engines. I had a 63 Buick in high school, a LeSabre. And my brother had a 63 Riviera, very much like this, only black. So I know these cars like the back of my hand. Although I haven't worked on the 364, 401, 425 block in a long time, I haven't forgotten. They're very durable engines. They do tend to get seized because the clearances in them are very tight. So we'll see how that goes. So this is the Buick 425 engine. You'll notice it says 465. That's not the cubic inches on Buicks. That's the torque value. Buick knew the torque was more important than horsepower back then. So that's what that means. And it's a 425 4-barrel. This is a super reliable engine. The owner tells me it's been rebuilt in the past. So I'm hopeful that we'll get this thing going. Oh yeah, yep, look at that carburetor. You see the 4 fuel bowl vents for each bowl. This is all so familiar to me, it reminds me of high school. They're still on it. Yeah, there's a little spider's nest here, right at the base of the plug. Huh. Hopefully not inside the cylinder, because this plug was a little bit loose. Let me get my gloves. So all the plugs look great. That's what one of them looks like. All good. So that's all a good sign. They're all loose because the owner had put WD-40 in it years ago, but I'm putting some mystery oil in regardless. Okay, important moment here. We're going to see if the engine turns by hand. Like I say, these they're called nail head engines. These nail heads tend to stick. So let's hope that this one is not stuck. It might be stuck. Yeah, it might be stuck. So I'm going to put a wrench on it and see what happens. Okay. All right, I'm going to see if I can get this plumber's wrench to move the engine, because I wasn't able to do it by hand. It moved. It moved. Let me keep going. Yep, it's moving. Oh yeah. All good so far. No, haven't encountered any stuck valves or anything. It's slow going because it's tight in here. Oh yeah. I would say it's not the easiest engine to spin over, but it's moving. Okay. Okay, now that it's unstuck, I'm going to share a story with you because so many of you share stories with me in your comments. A Buick Riviera was the second rescue I ever did. It was 1984. And my friend Dave found a 63 Riviera in Waltham, Massachusetts behind this guy's house he was selling. It had been his pride and joy for a lot of years, but it had been sitting in the backyard forever. And in that climate in Massachusetts, it was very rusty and very stuck. So we worked in his backyard for hours and hours to get the engine freed up. And every half hour or so, the guy would come out of his basement with more parts for it that he had saved over the years. And he'd come out of the basement and he'd say my friend David's name, and he had this nasally voice. He'd be like, David, David. And he kept coming out, and I never forgot it. He kept coming out with parts. This Riviera had Kelsey Hayes wire wheels on it. And one of the parts he brought out of his basement was a 5th Kelsey Hayes wire wheel. Make a long story short, we did get it unstuck, but we never got it started. The reason we didn't get it started was later when we brought it home, we took it apart. 3 of the pistons had holes in them, and they had been driven like that a while. So this engine was completely junk and it wasn't going to start. That's not going to happen today. This guy is going to fire up. So I thought I'd share that story with you, something from my distant past. All right, engine spun 2 times, no problem at all. So initially stuck just a bit, but no problem. I'm going to check the oil. Oh, beautiful. It's full and it's clean. So all good there. You know that 63 Riv I was telling you about, we did get it running eventually. We swapped the engine out. We pulled the engine out of a 63 Buick LeSabre that had been trashed in the back. And my brother drove it for a while in the early 80s. Here's the master cylinder. That's going to be stuck, we know that. Well, it's dry as dust. Can you see that in there? That is dry as dust. So I'm going to put a little fluid in there. I'm not expecting any joy out of that, but I'll put some in anyway. So I put some fluid in it. I don't think it's going to do anything, but better to have some in it than none. Next step, get this ancient battery out of here. Put my battery in it and see if it'll turn over. If it does, it's going to blow out the mixture oil that's in the cylinders, which is what we want. This carburetor at one time was rebuilt. My eyesight is not good enough to see what that tag says. It's just some company carburetors, so it must be a carb rebuilder, which is all good for us. The linkage is not really free, but we'll oil it up. Oh, that's why it's not free. The spring broke, the throttle spring. See that? It rusted off. But that's all right, because I'll just run it by hand. I didn't bring a string with me, but we don't need it. Okay, let's get this battery out of here. So I texted my brother, see if he had any pictures of back in the early 80s, and he does, of his Riviera. So here's something to keep you occupied while I hook this battery up. All right, we're going to hook juice to it for the first time in a very long time. I always do this to make sure there's no smoke. There's no spark, so that's good. There shouldn't be on a vehicle this old. There's no computer or anything, so it shouldn't spark, and it didn't. Okay, now will it turn over, or is the starter going to give us trouble? So let's see. All right, so we had a little scare with the starter. The starter drive didn't want to engage, but I figured it would free up. It was a little temperamental. Engine's turning over great. The mystery oil is all set now, so we're going to check for a spark next in the points. Okay, so under the cap it's a relatively new cap, but it's got some spiders in here. And there's spiders on the rotor and all under. So I'm going to just clean this out. Yeah, this rotor is going to have to come off. It's very dirty, but that's all right. Okay, so you can see we've got even a spider's nest under the rotor, which I have not seen before. That would definitely affect the vacuum advance because the advance springs are covered with spider web, but we'll take care of that. I'm pulling out the points. They're not sparking, and on these Buicks you can't really get at the contact points with the points in the vehicle. So I'm going to pull them out. You got to be super careful not to drop the screws. They're fairly unique screws. And if I drop them, I'm going to have to climb under the car to get them, which I'd rather not do, for obvious reasons. So these points, I don't know if you can see that. These are the most corroded points I think I've ever seen. They're green and white and tan. There's no copper colored there. So we're going to clean them up quick and put them back in. All right, the distributor cap's back on. The points are sparking great. So now the plugs are going to go back in, and it's almost showtime. All right, I'm putting the plugs back in on the driver's side, passenger side's in. Next step after this, I'm going to hook my gas up to the fuel inlet on the carburetor. See if it'll fire like that. If it does, then we'll hook up my gas to the fuel pump. We're not going to run the fuel out of the gas tank because it's probably bad, so we're not even going to try that. But we're almost ready to give this a try. Just got to get this last plug in and tightened up, and then we're good to go once the gas is hooked up. So it's getting exciting. Fuel system is going in. Again, we're going to bypass the fuel pump for now. I don't know if it works. It probably does, but I don't want to pump any gas through it. Yeah. So I'm going to see if I can disconnect it totally from the tank so it doesn't pull anything in. It's got a very old spring clamp on it rather than a screwdriver. Nothing wrong with that, just makes it a little harder to get off when access is limited. Come on. Okay, I can hear the float bowl filling up the carburetor. Whoops. Uh-oh. That's not good. Float bowl's leaking all over the place. We've been here before. We've been here before. The float might be stuck. Okay, so the float might be stuck, not sure. I'm going to try to fire it up and see what happens. Okay, here goes nothing. Okay, nothing. Nothing. That was better. Okay, this starter might be our undoing. It's giving us some grief. But it's getting better.
The bending is not.
Stopped it, okay. All right, as soon as it fires a little bit, the Bendix on the starter disconnects. So I got a, small chance of throwing more current at it will allow it to spin faster. So if the Bendix disconnects, the engine will still keep going because there's more current and it's spinning faster. It's a long shot, but I'm going to try it. It's closer. It's closer. I'm going to try a little gas this time. Oh, man. Come on, girl. All right, I've got this thing up in the air a bit, at least enough to see what's going on under here. And you can see there's a huge hole in the floor. And this hole here, that was already there. I didn't make that. I think that's from the muffler laying right on the ground. It's amazing this exhaust system isn't completely rotted out. There's the starter, right up in there on the other side of the steering linkage. They go in with sideways bolts. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this out of here today. I want to do it when it's safe, and this isn't looking too safe, but we'll see. I'm going to work on another half hour or so and see if I can still get it fired. But next step is to hammer on the starter, see if that'll free up the drive a little bit. All right, this starter's just not cooperating, so I'm going to change the tire. This old tire had a huge hole in the back. See this hole here? So it wasn't taking any air, but the spare holds air. So I'm going to put the spare on and assess what to do from here, because there's no way I can get to the starter like this. All right, tire's going on. Look at how deep this hole is. Unbelievable. We got to put this piece of cobblestone here that the owner tells me it's from the Nashville streets back in the day. So this is a pretty cool piece of history right here. I'm going to put it under the cross member. Yeah. Look at that. It wants to go.
Yeah, it does.
It wants to go. That starter is just killing us. Man, you can even hear it firing out the tailpipe. Oh. Wow, it's close, man. It's close. It's really close. I think now I'm running out of battery and well, I hate to admit defeat, but it's even looking too good. The starter's got to come out. All right, so the starter is just too far gone. As soon as the engine starts to fire, the Bendix disconnects and just won't go. We tried and tried and tried. We've been out here for hours and just not worth it. I can't get under it safe enough to pull the starter. So what we're going to do, I'm going to order a new starter for it, and we're going to come back, get it up in the air correctly, and pull that starter, drop the new one in, then we're going to fire it up. But right now it's, if I count the one in 80, 83, 84, it's Riviera 2, me 0. Need to change that. Well, this thing's not going to beat me. It is not going to beat me. I'm getting my exercise for sure. All right, we're getting the car up safely. Doesn't look it yet, but we're not finished. And once we do that, I'll be able to swap the starter out. Then it should be simple after that. Okay, we got the cross member, we get the tire up, and I'm going to leave the jack in so it's not going anywhere. So now I can get under there, get the starter out. Yep. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, I can get right at it, although I might need a wrench rather than a socket. Looks like it's 5/8. I thought it was a 9/16. 5/8. 5/8. Oh man. Oh, these are tight. Oh man, these are tight. Oh yeah. Whew. Okay, it's coming out. That's it. Okay, now what the problem was, this gear, when you activate the starter, engages the flywheel, and it was, as soon as the RPM increased just a little bit from a cylinder firing, the gear came back into the starter like that. It's supposed to come out to here to get the engine running. So either the drive here or this is messed up. It's real bad in there. Can you focus in on there? It's really rusty in there. It's likely been either underwater or, you know, the rust inside of there is just not cool at all. But we're going to take care of that so we have a brand new starter. All right, it's going in. Unfortunately, it's starting to rain, so hopefully that doesn't put a damper on things. Okay, starter's in. It rained for a while. I'm wet and dirty, but the starter's in, and that's what's important. And my helpers here kept me drier than they are, so I'm thankful for that.
Okay, you're going.
All right, we're going to try it. Starter's in, pouring rain. This is the craziest rescue I've done in a while. Let's see if it kicks over. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's really, the timing's really advanced. I don't know why that is, but it is really advanced. That'll help. I'm gonna try some gas.
Come on, baby. Come on. Wants to go. All right, Hugh.
Yeah.
Time for you to take the ignition.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to work some magic under here to try to get this thing started. Okay. Yeah! Woo! Woo! Look at that! Woo! Woo! Yeah, man! Let's put some more gas in that thing. Woo! I'm going to keep feeding it gas. You want to crank it up one more time, Hugh? I'm going to keep feeding it gas and just let it run. It keeps running out of gas. Get this thing nice and warm. I'm ready, man. Look at that. Okay. I'm going to turn up the idle a little bit more. Go ahead, man. What do you think? Woo! What do you think, man? Listen to, go get the tailpipe. Listen to that tailpipe. Not so bad. A little wide, but not bad. Charging. Yep. 13.2, that's perfect. Generator's good. Well, that sounds sweet. Sounds beautiful. Give one more shot of how it sounds in the back, and then we'll shut it down. Listen to that thing. Woo! All right, it's a lot of work, but a lot of success. Don't forget to subscribe. This was an awesome one. We got more good ones coming. Thank you for all your support.